This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites. A no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
This is Jeff Cobb here at PWG. Tremendous. I don't even know the name of the show, but you're listening to Busted Wide Open.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 201. My name is Nick Howell.
And whether you beer me or chew me like The Miz, I'm officially declaring that henceforth, Dolph Ziggler will be known as that rat bastard!
That son of a bitch!
I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to Busted Wide Open, where we will be discussing all kinds of excellent wrestling that happened this week. We had title changes, we had surprise appearances, we had fantastic shows, and we also had Friday Night Smackdown. And we're going to talk about all of it, Nick. But first, we have a little bit of an announcement to make. We got to do a little housekeeping, and then we will get into the heart of the show.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a bit of an announcement here. Unfortunately, our normal schedule is going to be interrupted next week. We do shows live every Saturday at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern, and on Tuesdays we're also live at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. Unfortunately, this coming Tuesday, that will not be the case because our man Nick, you're going down with a bum wing.
Yep.
You want to tell them what that's about?
I got a busted chicken wing. Basically, many years of sports as a kid just wore on to deterioration, and eventually I had a sort of a partial separation last Memorial Day, and I struggled through it the last 8 or 9 months and just got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. So, got to get her fixed. The good news is we're getting her fixed. The bad news is I could be down anywhere from, in a sling, for 6 weeks up to potentially 4 months, and then starting PT. So, there's going to be some exploratory stuff. We won't really know all the answers until next Tuesday, maybe next Wednesday, but that means no live stream, no show on Tuesday nights per normal, as you just said. But we are going to do our best to see what we can do. We're going to have somewhat of a old familiar face potentially return to the show and have a nice surprise for you guys next week in my stead.
Yes, we're going to see the return of JB. JB will be coming back to the show and joining me on Tuesday. We don't know when that show's going to be coming up. It's going to depend on how drugged up Nick is, because he's the guy with all the technology, and all I can do is just record. So we will have a show early next week. It's just it might be Tuesday night, it might be Wednesday night. We will get one out, though, featuring the return of the lovely JB to the show. So, yeah, that's the deal, everybody. Nick is going to be in a drugged haze for some period of time next week, but we hope to be back on our regular schedule next Saturday. And speaking of which, Nick, where can they find us and how can they interact with the show?
Absolutely. If you want more details on what I'm getting ready to go through, I did a big live last night. We go full in depth. You guys can check it out over there. But it's in the Facebook discussion group. Just search for Busted Wide Open on Facebook. Like our page and send us a join request to get into the discussion group with the rest of the phenomenal ones, which is where we all kind of hang out throughout the week, post funny memes, good news stories, reliable news stories. We have a harsh policy against BS in that group. So if your post happens to disappear, you probably already know why it's not in there anymore. But yes, that is the place. You'll also find links there to our Discord community, which is where we do all of our live chats alongside every single show as they're airing throughout the entire week. That's Ring of Honor, AEW, WWE, Impact, everything. We've got chat channels there where you can discuss anything about the Graps throughout the week, and dedicated chat channels for every pay-per-view, such as TakeOver Portland, that's happening tomorrow evening. We will definitely be in there for that, and AEW Revolution coming up as well as the other Blood Money show we don't really talk about. I guess we're going to have a chat about it. Fine, whatever. But yes, you can only get into those in our Discord community, so please join us. It is up and coming and a lot of fun to interact with a lot of other people while you're watching your favorite wrestling shows. You can also find us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, streaming live right here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're right at that 500 milestone. We really want to get to 1,000 by the time we get to WrestleMania. I promise it will pay off in spades if you guys can get that done. Make sure you jingle that little notification bell right next to it as well. Choose all so that you get alerted anytime we go live or put up new content. And last but certainly not least, we have to thank all of our patrons. Thank you guys so much for everything you do to support this show, your hard-earned money, and passing the good word, word of mouth, and leaving reviews, and all of those things make this show what it is. So thank you, and shout out to all of the phenomenal ones, especially our patrons. Thank you very much for that. And as I said, if you want to know more about the shoulder, we're not going to pontificate about it here. We're here to talk about the Graps. You can find all that over in Facebook. And we're not going to waste any more time because, as you might have heard at the top of the show, we got some stuff to talk about over on All Elite Wrestling.
Lots of things to talk about, Nick. Lots of things to talk about. Major debut on AEW, although the ramifications of it I have yet to fully grasp. We had Santana have an in-ring interview with JR, empty arena interview, which he absolutely killed, talking about his father's blindness, his father's real life blindness, and how that was motivating him when Jon Moxley, in a retaliatory move, took out Santana's eye. So now they both are down an eye. They both are walking around like pirates. When he said that motivated him to want to take all of Jon Moxley's slight, because he had to grow up seeing a man who did not have any sight, who lived in darkness.
Yeah.
Darkness. Darkness. And so later on, sure enough, we had that Santana and Moxley match. But this is after Jericho promised that if Moxley made it through Santana somehow, he would be facing a man that Jericho had found that was a hired gun, that was a bounty hunter, that was a guy who traveled the world just wrecking people. And that man was Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb, finest smelling man on the indies. And sure enough, after the match with Moxley and Santana, which was a very fun match, it was really awesome to see Santana go out there and get to work on his own. Frankly,
I feel like this was a bad timing though, because there was no way in hell he was going to beat the #1 contender 2 weeks out of Revolution, right?
And Ortiz was outside the ring playing his role as well, spitting liquor in Moxley's one good eye. So at the end of the match, both guys are blind. Moxley has stuck his thumb in Santana's other eye, and they're both stumbling around blind. They bump into each other, and Moxley happens to grab Santana for the Death Rider, or it actually looked like his old Dirty Deeds. But anyway, he wins the match. And then sure enough, out comes the entire inner circle. They're all up in the press, or up in the box in the crowd. They all rush the ring, beat the crap out of Moxley, knee him in the balls, gets a Judas effect, and then as he's laying there dead, out comes Jeff Cobb himself, gives him a tour of the islands, and all the inner circle poses. So
this was after we had a backstage segment with Jericho earlier, where he said he's going to have to face him, and we're like, oh crap, when's that going to happen? Next week? Okay, cool. The shock at the end of him coming out that night was just like, oh God! And the music, oh God, I love his new intro music. Holy smokes!
And anyone who hadn't seen him before got a good look at him.
Big old meatball.
He's a
hairy Hawaiian meatball.
Yeah, his old gimmick was Mr. Athletic, and it's no joke. The dude is unreal.
He'll do standing moonsaults. That guy. Yep. Just for no reason. Just right there.
Sure. Yep. Just because he can.
Because he can.
I've seen him throw around some big dudes like they're paper bags. Yeah. It's insane. So, yeah, we love us some Jeff Cobb. I think this is awesome. But here's the question. what is, everyone's asking, what is his involvement with AEW? Has he completely signed? And the answer from what I can find is no. He's actually on in AEW on a limited basis. He's not under contract to Ring of Honor, but he does have a match coming up. He's teaming up with Dan Moff against Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal in a tag match that's coming up, I think, on WrestleMania weekend for Ring of Honor. So he's still doing matches over there. He's still working New Japan shows. And obviously now he's working AEW. So he is kind of like a hired gun right now. He's not signed anything with AEW beyond doing a few shows. So that actually leaves it open where he could have a competitive match with Moxley next week and lose, and it wouldn't really necessarily damage him just because he's not going to be there consistently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is a cool idea. Obviously I would love to see Jeff Cobb in AEW on the regular, but I like the idea of Jericho going out and hiring Boba Fett dudes.
Mercenaries.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. I stumbled there for a second.
My goodness.
Oh, excuse me.
Lance Archer I don't think is going to be a hired gun. Lance Archer I think is going to be a permanent fixture, but I hope so. So, yeah, I mean, are you okay with Moxley beating him next week, or do you want to see Jeff Cobb just tear Mox apart?
I mean, they had some meh kind of matches in the G1. Like their two matches that they had last summer was like, it was okay.
Cobb did kind of underperform in the G1.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure what to expect. Like we want to push.
Although him versus Ishii was fantastic.
It was. It was.
But overall he did underwhelm people, I think, a little bit. Even though he had completely solid matches, everyone was expecting him to be like lights out, and it wasn't, sadly.
No, he was too busy filling Goto's shoes of eating all the pins. But
no, that might be it.
While Goto was actually winning for once. My concern with Jeff Cobb here is that he becomes just that other mid-carder beast that goes out there and ends up putting other guys over. And I don't want that for Cobb. I want him to have some legit time. But he's pulling a bit of a Marty Scurll here in the sense that he just wants to work everywhere, and I can't be mad at that. You got to respect the hustle of flying all over the place all the time, constantly being in different promotions, different feuds, different stories, and just performing at the level that he does every time. So I can't wait to see the match. I think it's going to be an extra rub for Mox being able to put down a big guy. Obviously, he's going to win the match, but that's all fine. Let's put that aside. On his way to
schmoz finish.
Sure. On his way to Jericho, right? We've got to get him to Jericho to have that match. I like putting the obstacles in front of him, all of that stuff. And Cobb is not an obstacle for sure. So it should be a good match.
Yeah, every time I see his social media stuff, he's always like in an airport or on a plane. The dude goes around a lot.
Yeah.
But real quick before we move on, I want to talk about the match itself, the eye for an eye match. And Moxley's had a bit of trouble wrestling in the eye patch. Like his match against Suzuki, the whole thing came off, and he just forgot to sell it until the very end of the match. Where he went, oh yeah, ow, my eye, ow. And this match was a little awkward with the eye patches. Did that bother you, or was it like a fun new, not stipulation, but kind of twist? Like, did it work for you, or was it just a little bit silly?
I didn't care. I mean, listen. It was silly to the point that I chuckled a few times when Santana was trying to poke his eye out with the corner of the ring steps, and he was like, ah! It was so like it's gonna end my life if you actually pull this off, and just the good camera angles on that too. So those were fun moments, but it was a match, and it was a Healy kind of match with Ortiz in there half the time, threatening to hit him with his loaded sock and all that stuff. So it was fine. It was serviceable. I was more interested in that promo that Santana cut with JR, where it was like, this is a very facey promo. Like, he's supposed to be a dirty shitbag in the inner circle. But why is he cutting this super facey promo with JR?
And then also his fire promo from last week. Like, the dude he's got a singles run in him, or he's got like a face run in him or something. Like, yeah, that was something else.
I think we get beyond this. Let's play this out. If Jericho does drop the title to Moxley, do we see a splintering of the inner circle to an extent where we do have the possibility of something like an LAX tag run or a splitting of LAX?
Sure. Down the road, anything can happen. Anything's possible, man.
I mean, they know they got this stuff booked out, like what you said last week or on Tuesday. So I'm curious. I'll be curious to see what happens if they do actually move the title off of Jericho. I'm not convinced they're going to yet.
Sure, but at some point, there's a lot of possibilities.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
The other major news out of this show is that we had a women's title match. One of the first times Riho has actually defended her title, certainly on TV, against the woman she beat to gain it in the first place, Nyla Rose. And I'll be damned, Nick, I was really entertained by this match. I genuinely didn't know who was going to win. And when Nyla Rose pinned Riho, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Nyla Rose is your new women's champion. Over in AEW.
That's what they should have done in the first place. So they were just kind of hitting the reset button here, guys.
You know what? I don't think they should have had Nyla Rose be the first champ. I think that would have been even more controversial than having her win it at all. And it was controversial. There definitely been a lot of distasteful things said on the internet about Nyla winning. I think if she'd been the first champ, it really would have been rough. I thought when they started this all up, she should be champ at some point, and I'm not mad with her being the second champ, but the first champ would have really stirred up a shitstorm, I think, for them. And they'd have had to defend it a lot. And I think having Riho win it first was a good call, at least given the landscape that they had at the time of women's wrestlers. I think there's a couple others they could have maybe put it on, but in hindsight, I think Riho was a pretty good call. She really, I mean, say what you will about Riho. When she wrestles live, she gets that crowd on her side like that. Like they're always consistently fired up and rooting for her. Even in this match, like with people kind of souring on her a little bit and being like, she's never on TV, she never defends, not a great champ. They were still rooting for her in this match.
Yeah.
So, I think that overall, the way that they did things was fine. And like of all the problems they have in the women's division, that wasn't one I would pick out, was the order in which they had champs and the fact that Riho was the first champ.
I got to break in here on you for a second, and we could talk about Nyla Rose and Riho forever. Will James, in honor of Gronk, just dropped $69 in the tip jar. What? Will James in the house. What in the world, my friend?
My goodness, dude. Thank you very much.
Much love, brother. Thank you very much for that. He said Nyla gives someone for faces to chase. Still a little green, but a solid monster. Yeah, I agree. And looking back on it, that's my hang up. Listen, this is not we're not here to address transphobia. We know that kind of stuff exists. Dustin Rhodes was very vocal about it this week with one of his children being trans. So listen, this is not the show to talk about that kind of civil rights stuff. What I do want to address is a professional wrestler being put in the right place at the right time. I think it was incorrect to have the tiniest little thing that win the thing and never be there to defend it. That's my hang up with Riho.
I'll agree with the second part. Riho definitely should have defended more. But as far as visually, it is hard to have her go out there and look realistic defending it. So, they did back themselves into a corner with putting a lot of their money on Kylie Ray. And that just really threw them for a loop. And I think they had to have Riho have it for a reasonable amount of time, defend it once or twice so she was a legit champ, and then having it go on Nyla. And you say you don't want to discuss trans stuff. And I don't want to get into the debate of trans, but I do want to talk about the fact that there is a lot of vitriol out there, especially towards Nyla Rose winning this. And there was on both sides, there was a JR when Nyla won and she starts rolling out of the ring. JR goes, Nyla Rose is now the king of the mountain in the women's division. And a lot of people jumped on that and were like, JR, Jesus, dude, come on. Nyla actually came to JR's defense and said, it's an expression. Come on, give me a break. And then posted a comic of a little girl saying, I want to be the king. The mom saying, you can't be the king. You're a princess. And the little girl says, I want to be king princess. And that pretty much sums it up. So she let JR off the hook, but she's been getting a lot of hate, and not just from, a-hole fans. I'm going to destroy anyone's love for Val Venus right now. But the Vig Balboski, if you didn't know, is psycho. You can go on his Facebook and Twitter, and the dude is just like about as wingnut right wing as you get. He wrote, WTF is happening in pro wrestling these days. Insane. I feel for all the real females who are denied their opportunity to shine because a male has been given the women's title. Fairness is the issue. Social conditioning is the goal. To all the real women who work so hard to get where you all are, my heart goes out to you. You will have to wait for the writers to stop their BS before you can continue to thrive. So dumb decisions. Social justice warriors pretending to be writers. What's next for AEW? Pedophiles. Lib turds like to call them minor attracted. Tag teaming for the tag titles with John Podesta as their manager. I got a screaming at from the office for punching Trish Stratus in the face in Hawaii. How far wrestling has come when Nyla Rose can punch, kick, and destroy women and occupy a spot meant for women. Guess I should have claimed, quote, identity as a woman before punching Trish in the face. Shaking my damn head. Oh, Val. So yeah, that's the kind of backlash that Nyla's getting right now. And, I think it's one of those things where I'm now even more glad that she's the champ, so this kind of stuff can come out in the open and it can be dealt with.
Yeah.
And
suck at
AEW
haters.
can just pretty much suck at haters. Like if you have a problem with this, don't watch AEW.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. Like where they're taking a stand on it. So
I don't know, just enjoy the spectacle of the sport. Why does everything have to be a thing? That's what I get hung up on.
To be clear, Val, she punched, kicked, and destroyed, and also had a really awesome top turnbuckle knee drop while Riho was draped over the ropes that looked awesome.
Yeah.
Just
the way she flipped off the ropes after that was just like, oh God, she's dead. By God,
she killed her. She killed her. Oh God.
Kenny's in the back crying. All kind. Oh God.
Let's be clear. Like I'm fine with Nyla Rose being the women's champ.
Yeah, me too.
Period.
It's wrestling.
Hard stop. It's wrestling. All right. And
calm down.
Nyla Rose is I think going to be a great champ. Because she's a monster, and she's going to be built as a monster.
Be a great one for Chris Statlander to go up against.
I actually had an old. This was all going on in my bars. It does every Wednesday. We got AEW on. And I had an older gentleman who obviously didn't watch a whole lot of wrestling.
Yep.
There in the front. And, it came out at some point during the match that Nyla was trans. And so we had a lot of people who were very invested in the match all of a sudden. And they're like, oh, what's going to happen? And this guy was sitting there going, wait a minute. She used to be a man. I'm like, yes, sir. She's like, what? Isn't that illegal? Isn't that, you can't really do that? I'm like, well, no, explain everything to him. And at the end, I was like, it's one thing in MMA where like you could actually hurt somebody. It's another thing. This is wrestling. This is wrestling. All right. Like they're out there having a theatrical experience for everybody.
Yeah.
And frankly, they're doing a very good job at it. So
that whole part I said about we're not going to talk about civil rights and just forget that. That's
here we are.
Sorry, we did.
You didn't. I did. So my fault. Anyway, okay. The last question, then we'll get out of here. Do you think that given their so far 6 months now of being on air, that this is going to be something where they do a good job of treating this just straightforward as a women's title and a women's champion, and not get into the kind of tokenism we see in WWE?
I mean, she's the Beast. Literally, that's her nickname. So she's now the dragon to slay in the women's division. What's the thing we've complained about for the most of us have complained about is that we don't really find a way to get behind these tiny little Joshi wrestlers. And now we actually have some beef in the ring, some beast. Now there's a dragon to slay. Now there's someone for Shauna and Chris Statlander. Who knows what's going on with what's her name? I can't even remember. The dentist.
Oh, it's Britt Baker.
Yeah, that one. I've forgotten about her already.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But, there's believable champion. The funny thing is that little women's title, the belt itself, looks so big with Riho. It looks so tiny.
It looked normal in Riho, but Riho's like the size of a child.
Right.
And the belt is for a child. Yeah, they got to do something with that belt.
Let's legitimize that. If you're going to have that giant 20-pound of gold AEW championship around little Jericho, you got to let's legitimize the title a little bit,
Little Jericho. He could bench press you.
Whatever. Not with that caved-in chest, he couldn't.
Agreed. They only have some things to work on there. Yeah. But yeah, big movements over in AEW in the women's division. I think that could actually be really good for the women's division as a whole. So I thought that was the right decision.
Yep.
But what's getting weird now is the tag division. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega are still very over. They defended their championship against SCU, and they won clean. Great match. Very exciting to open up the show.
Well, it wasn't clean. I saw some heely shit coming out of SCU.
Well, they had to be heel. Hangman's the face right now. They're, and they did a good job explaining it too, where JR said, "Oh, they're kind of doing everything that they can to win their titles back." It was just working heel for the match. It wasn't like they were doing a big old heel turn. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Let's be clear. But the end of this was interesting, where at the you had Dark Order come out to get an SCU's face, and then pretty much every tag team on the roster, Best Friends and Hybrid 2 and who else? Young Bucks, of course, eventually. Butcher and Blade. They all came out to the ring. We had a big old tag team scrum because next week we're having a battle royale. Oh, sorry. Next week? Next week we're having a battle royale? Next week we're having the battle royale, tag team battle royale, to determine who's going to be facing Omega or whoever has the championships at Revolution. And this felt very WWE to me. This felt very much like, we're going to have this match. Everybody, look what you have to expect in this match next week. Haha, here's all the tag teams. Did it work for you, though? Like, was it fun for you, or did it seem cheap?
Remember 2 weeks ago when they opened the show hot with that 4-way tag team match, and everybody was just no interest or nothing, just bang, straight into it.
Yeah, that was a match.
Oh, my God, it was a spectacle. But, yeah, determining a number one contender, you know how much I like, or I despise 4-ways and 5-ways and things like that for championships, but I think it's brilliant to do it for number one contenderships. Let's see who can come out on top. Speaking of King of the Mountain, let's play a little game of King of the Hill. Who can come out on top, and then you get a chance at the champions at the pay-per-view.
Right.
Booking 101, right? I like this kind of stuff. I do get behind this kind of stuff. And because the tag team division in AEW is so stacked, it makes it that much more compelling to me. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. The thing that's surprising me is that the crowd's getting behind Hangman Page in a big way.
Big time.
Like, I didn't see that coming.
Majorly over. You didn't? I thought this all was a great way to get him over after the kind of lukewarm reception he was getting after that mega push last summer.
Well, I still felt it was a little bit lukewarm, and people just really weren't sure what to do, and we've full-on made the switch now where people are tired of him getting bullied for having a beer after his match.
Yeah.
And people chanting, and there's signs, and Hangman have a beer with me, and just...
He's more over than Omega right now.
Oh, my God.
By a good stretch.
If I had told you that 3 years ago, that Adam Page would be the one to be more over than Kenny Omega,
he's gonna
coming off of Omega Okada.
On a drunk gimmick. Right. Because he's a...
You would have driven to North Carolina and slapped me.
You're out of your mind. This is Nick booking 101. Come on. Yeah. No, absolutely. It's madness. Next week we've got Omega and Page versus the Lucha Brothers, which I'm also baffled by. Why aren't the Lucha Brothers in the tag team? Okay, I think I know why. They're not having the Lucha Brothers in the tag team battle royale because it would be hard to have them in there and not win. And right. But then why have them go and lose to them next week? I don't know. That's one of my big beefs with AEW is their booking of the Lucha Brothers right now.
I'm holding out hopes that once we get past this Exalted One Dark Order build stuff that is kind of encircling things right now, that we see something happen with the Lucha Brothers. I'm still not convinced.
Oh, no.
I'm still not convinced that Pentagon might be the
He's
Exalted One.
Not. He might be on the list of potentials if I think they probably have their list of guys they want to be the Exalted One, like 1, 2, 3, and they're like waiting to see if their number one picks are going to work out or not, and if they work out, great. If they don't, all right, we've got some other options, kind of thing. Pentagon's probably pretty far on that list, but he might be on it. He might be on it.
Listen, after this, after this week, we've all been talking about Matt Hardy. If we're gonna sit here and talk about Matt Hardy, let's talk about guys that are actually in the company and have been around this for some time. I think Pentagon's a higher than likely chance.
I think that this is the thing, is I think that's not going to be somebody who's in the company. I mean, unless they're going to do a massive swerve that makes no sense, and it's gonna be like Kenny Omega or something like ridiculous, like I don't see it. Or like Sean Spears or something like that.
Michael in the chat asked why Pentagon, though, doesn't strike me as a logical choice. Since when have I ever used logic? Michael.
That's very true. Hashtag WW Logic is right down there with hashtag Nick Logic, so be careful. By the way, a quick shout out to Patrick, $10 in the tip jar. Dude.
He says, meant to wish you guys a happy 200 episodes. Better late than never. Thank you very much, Patrick Kennedy. $10 in the tip jar.
Very much, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, brother.
Woo! You guys are hot today. Holy smokes.
This is awesome. And Michael Hill actually says Matt Hardy or Chris Daniels. Chris Daniels is a possibility, but it feels to me like he's a red herring. Like it feels too obvious. Like guys, don't worry. I'm gonna go look for their Dark Order and
I'm gonna make sure they don't interfere with the match. I got this.
Right.
And I'm going in my head. I'm going.
Feels like here's
the fallen angel we've wanted the whole time.
But it feels to me also like they're setting that up so that if everything else falls through, it could be Chris Daniels.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like a double swerve. So yeah, we will see. I think a lot depends on what happens with Matt Hardy if WWE just gives him too damn much money.
Listen,
because he hasn't signed a contract with WWE yet.
Right.
So we don't know what his deal is.
Yeah. So look, we saw Chris Daniels run after Dark Order. We saw some Healy shit and tactics out of Frank Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. We also saw some miscommunications where they were running into each other and the wrong. Something's happening with SCU, and there's like, hey, look at the bright shiny thing, Dark Order over here, but
I'm not reading that much into it. I think it's the other way around. I think they're making you go bright shiny. Look at what's going on with SCU. Something's going on, and you're like, really? Oh,
okay,
coming from somewhere else. Right. Yep.
Agree to
disagree. Sammy Guevara had a match with hometown boy Dustin Rhodes, who got just a massive ovation there in Austin, Texas. Nice full room too, man. That was a fun crowd, and this match was fun. Dustin puts down Sammy Guevara though, and afterwards, Dustin and Jake Hager get into it. He called Jake Hager Jericho's bitch. Ooh. And Jake Hager gave him the big old dead eye, no blink stare for a while, and then walked away.
This was so good.
Dustin challenged him. Dustin, what's that?
This was so good. This was like one of my favorite Mike moments of the last few months, if not the last year, where he just goes, "Hey, MMA boy, you ever gonna get in the ring or just gonna be just sitting around being Jericho's bitch?" And I was just like, "Oh shit!" Here's my hang up with this. You knew later in the night you were gonna have Moxley go over Santana, and you knew that Santana was gonna have that promo with JR. Why would you not give Dustin the rub here? Give Sammy the rub. I'm sorry. I said it backwards. Why would you not give Sammy the rub here and then have Hager come out and taunt Dustin and then Dustin give that same speech? It feels like that would have made more sense.
Make him look strong, get the crowd behind him. Hager's going to win at Revolution. I mean, they're going to keep Hager looking strong.
Sure.
So this is Dustin's moment to shine here. That made all the sense in the world to me. Sammy's a guy who can lose every single match and it'll be fine because we know that he is talented and he's young. You know what I mean? So I thought everything was perfect here.
If I had told you 3 years ago that one of the hottest matches going into a pay-per-view was going to be Jack Swagger versus Goldust, you'd have probably driven to North Carolina and slapped me.
I might have believed you. It could happen. We also had MJF. He had a match with Jungle Boy, which was all right. Two of the youngest guys in the company, 22 and 23. And my God, these guys, 22 and 23. The future is bright. This match was fun, man. These guys can work.
Over-delivered AF. This whole thing. And then we got Wardlow not interference, but beat down at the end. Gave him an F5, and it made me go, Wardlow versus Brock Lesnar? Oh, I'd like to see that.
No, Jesus, Wardlow would get eaten alive.
Yeah, all right.
But at the same time, like I was, they actually, first of all, we don't see MJF actually working a full match very often. So that was nice. Have him go out there and see what he can really do. Both these guys really connect with the audience in their matches.
Yeah. And
that was really fun to see, was these two guys just work the crowd back and forth. So, yeah. And it also helped that the crowd was really hot and really into it. When do you think Jungle Boy is just such a fantastic babyface. He's a great worker. He's only getting better. And MJF is already in a major feud. We already know he's kind of like one of the top heels in the company. When will it be Jungle Boy's time to really kind of step up? Because, they were even saying on commentary during this, like, these are 2 future main eventers.
Yeah.
I feel like MJF is closer to that. Like, he's on the cusp of it right now. But how long until Jungle Boy is truly like a main eventer?
We've got to get. I'd say through 6 months. I'd say we're 6 months into this whole thing, and I feel like we've gotten to the pinnacle of what they probably booked. Like, we're gonna build Moxley up. He's gonna go off, do the G1. He's gonna come back hot. We're gonna have him surprise appear after leaving WWE at Double or Nothing. All that stuff build up, and we're gonna ultimately lead up to the end game of Jericho versus Moxley. Because they might be 2 of the hottest wrestlers in the world, worldwide, across promotions right now. And that's going to be our end game, and we're going to book up to that. So I feel like beyond that, we're going to see the rise of MJF. We're going to see the rise of Jungle Boy. We're going to see some of these younger cats start coming in and really amping things up. But right now, It's all about Jericho Moxley. We just saw the title change hands in the women's division. We're seeing some kind of maelstrom of chaos happening in the tag team division. Listen, a couple of weeks ago, I said for the first time, I had a reaction to an AEW episode. This week's might have been the best one yet.
It was really good. It was very good top to bottom.
Almost flawless. This was absolutely fantastic episode this week.
Yeah. So we even had a great, first of all, Brandy she salvaged herself on commentary during this match. We also had Britt Baker come out and give an awesome heel promo. She's getting better every week.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right now. Like, we were both very down on her about a month ago.
On the cruise, yeah.
She's turning it back around. This was a great heel promo. Just had that crowd whipped up, knew how to throw all of the cheap heat out there, and got it. Called them chubby Whataburger faces, and then threw the horns down to a Texas audience, which, oh, dang, girl, you're going to be lucky to get out of Texas alive. You do that. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That crowd was hot. So, and of course, she made fun of Tony Schiavone, which, how dare you?
Barista.
So,
Barista Schiavone.
I got to say, man, like, she's coming around. She's turning into a pretty good, I'll call it an MJF style heel, like, just shit-eating bastard heel. I think that's going to serve her very well, given the women's division's a little bit sparse of characters right now.
Right.
So, in that sense, I think they're doing a good job.
You just strapped your big beast heel with the title, though, so that gives me pause on like what the plan is for her. So that's where, like, you've got Statlander, you've got Shauna, you've got Hikaru Shida, you've got a lot of faces.
But hold on a second. It's kind of like let's say I just said she's an MJF like heel. MJF isn't the top heel. You got Bastard Jericho with the strap on right now, but yet MJF's still having a big feud.
Sure.
So
that's a fair point. Fair point.
Still a lot you can do with Britt Baker as a secondary major heel. Yep. So, also, let's see. Speaking of bastards, Pac cut another promo on Kenny Omega saying that he knows that he is the reason why Kenny Omega's on the downswing, and he can't wait to beat him at the rubber match, Iron Man match in 2 weeks.
Is there a YouTube channel where I could just watch Pac cut black and white promos for like 2 hours? These are amazing. Like, these are some of it's a 50-50 on the Darby Allin stuff as well, but I enjoy those. But these Pac ones that he's doing, I could just watch these and just eat my popcorn and just enjoy
Darby also, and Darby did have that little video package this week where he had the cue cards, like Sammy Guevara like challenged him with the cue card, and it's just him like throwing cue cards on his skateboard, basically saying, "Oh, you want to, skateboard me in the throat? I'm going to get you all, but first, hey, Sammy, what are you doing at Revolution?" Meanwhile, like coughing and hacking into his phone mic the entire time and driving me nuts.
Yeah. He's selling the throat,
I don't care. Stop it, Darby. Dang, once or twice is enough.
You're not into ASMR then, I guess, right?
Oh, Jesus.
You don't want to sit and listen to people eat pickles?
Oh, no. Yeah, no. I could never be a Foley guy. Like one of those guys like just sit there and like makes like.
Okay, stop. That's enough. Oh,
yeah.
No.
I got you. So yeah, a couple of great video package promos. We're gonna get some good matches. I just don't understand why Omega Pac isn't on Revolution. I know Omega's got the tag team championship, but what's Pac gonna do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Crazy. But good. As you said, a good week of AEW. But they've got a couple of weeks till a pay-per-view. there's another promotion that has a pay-per-view this Sunday, and that promotion is NXT.
Well, this week's episode of NXT had a couple of bright spots on it, but I still felt like there was more to do to get to Portland coming out of it. Like, I felt like there was some things left undone that I still wanted to, like, make me invest in some of these. So let's run down the card and talk about the build to each of these, and like we'll give our picks and stuff like that.
Well, it's interesting because it started off with an angle where they don't even have a match. Like, it was a lot, like most of the show was setting up to Takeover.
Sure.
Right? Most of the show was just like, someone who's got a match at Takeover having a match against someone who doesn't, and it didn't really mean a lot. But it started off with an angle where they don't have a match at Takeover. That's Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream. Roderick Strong was very pissed off that the Velveteen Dream put the faces of his wife and child.
You mean Velveteen Rick Rude?
Velveteen Dream, straight up Rick Rude, including having like the heart in his butt that said, "Call me up, Marina."
Yeah.
Hey. So yeah, Roderick would not happy. He's not happy about that. He's not happy about that at all. And which, honestly, yeah, I understand, Roderick. That's why Rick Rude used to be a heel. That's some heel stuff right there. Yeah. But unfortunately, I think Roderick forgot that last week the Undisputed Era terrorized the backstage area, including he gave a big old knee to Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed didn't like that, and the big man came out to the ring to challenge Roderick Strong. And they had a nice little match. Very nice. Bronson Reed got some shine. It was good stuff. But at the end of it, Velveteen Dream tried to turn out the lights and still didn't distract Roderick enough. So Roderick wins the match, and then Dream pops up on the screen, shows off his pants again, and basically is like, "That's right, Roddy, don't worry. If I take you out the way you took me out, there's going to be someone who'll take care of your wife." Me. So yeah, Roderick, pissed off, runs to the back. He and Dream are looking like they're going to be heading for. Hey, it's funny because Dream, Roderick was the North American champion. Now it's not even about North American Championship. So what are they going to do, Nick? I'm sorry, I'm getting all garbled here because I'm like, what are they going to do with this feud? Does a championship belt have to come back into it? Like, where are they going with this? It's just a grudge feud, but Dream is acting like a heel, but he's the face?
Yeah, isn't this what we ask?
Convoluted.
Isn't this what we ask for all the time? That we want a legitimate feud that doesn't involve a title? Like, why does there always have to be a title circling around something? Like, this is a legit one where those two did battle last year for the North American Championship. In fact, part of completing the Undisputed Era prophecy was Roderick Strong beating Velveteen Dream for the North American Championship.
Sure.
So
I guess
it's weird that Velveteen Rick Rude showed up and he's the one being the heel to the heel Roderick Strong in Undisputed Era. And that's a little weird, sure, but that doesn't take anything away from my desire to see these two just have a blood feud. Like, go at it.
Sure.
Tear each other apart, as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think that Marina should actually get involved? Like, and we should see which side she picks?
I mean, unless we want all that main roster shenaniganry that, Wendy, that stuff to come back, right?
Or worse, we have like the Marina Velveteen Dream wedding segment, which, God help us all. I will say this, Dream's Twitter game is on another level. If you go on Twitter right now, he's only following one person.
Roderick Strong.
Marina
Shear. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know if anything here is going to figure into Sunday, but they did it. They just spent a whole segment on it, so I don't know. They also spent a whole segment on Angel Garza having his rematch versus Lio Rush for the Cruiserweight #1 contendership.
I kind of rolled my eyes like, oh, great. Last week when Lio won and got the opportunity to go back against Angel Garza, and I'm sitting there going, Garza's been doing all this work on Raw in Andrade's absence. He's even got Zelina Vega. Like, why is he where he's getting that rub? And then I kind of put it all together and I said, oh, I get it. He's coming back down with all of that fire from being on the main roster and kind of rubbing it off onto Lio, right?
Lio, absolutely.
Oh,
exactly.
My God, this match. Any
These two guys are
any
great together.
takeover, this could
together.
be the main event. It was This match was lights freaking out. This was my match of the week, hands down.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved this, and I didn't know.
I love these two. Yeah, I love these two guys together. They're amazing.
It was fantastic. It's the one match this week I rewound and watched it again. Like I don't do that a lot, but I was like, oh my god, so much stuff happened in this match, just from technical wrestling standpoint. Go back and watch it again, and just watch it with a keen eye on the moves they're doing, the counter work that they're doing. Leo countered the wing clipper into a roll up. Like what? Holy smokes!
Yeah.
So that stuff, fantastic. I loved this match. I can't rave about it enough.
Yeah, but I guess my question now is, okay, Leo went through all this. He's going to be the first major guy to go against Jordan Devlin. Is that a bad look? I mean, you don't take it off Devlin this quickly. Put it back on Leo.
I don't think. I don't know.
So
I don't,
what is it? What is
was
their
that
plan
just
for
a little bit of an NXT UK
Leo?
rub temporarily until they can get it back on TV?
That's kind of what I'm wondering.
That's what I think. I think Leo could win it back here. Yeah.
That seems really short to put it on Jordan. That little, and then he's lose it in his first major defense. Like, oh, yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah.
That seems like bouncing that belt around a lot to me. So I think this spells disaster for Leo at Sacrifice. I'm just saying.
He's got a 33 and a third chance at Sacrifice.
I think he's just got a third chance. So we also, as we said, the rest of the show is pretty much mostly
Sacrifice's Impact right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was TNA, actually, to be clear.
Yeah.
So we had lots of TakeOver setup. The rest of the show was pretty much all TakeOver setup, and frankly, most of it to me seemed kind of fatuous. You had Johnny Gargano. He had a little beef with Cameron Grimes. They got into it backstage, and so they ended up having actually a really well-worked match. Like, these two guys had some good chemistry. And that was pretty much it. Like, there wasn't really anything about Gargano's match at TakeOver against Finn Balor, except kind of showing that that Gargano's a really good worker. There was nothing there. Like, Finn didn't come out and get in his face. He didn't screw with the match. It was just Johnny Gargano and Cameron Grimes had a match. They had a good match. Johnny won. And then it's like, I'm going to get Finn at TakeOver. Okay, cool. You had Dakota Kai have a match with Candice LeRae. She beats Candice LeRae. Tegan Nox comes out as she's beating down Candice LeRae afterwards, and Tegan Nox chases her off. And hey, they have a match at TakeOver. Okay,
fantastic. Hopefully, it's the payoff from what we saw 4 months ago at War Games. So
yeah.
Please, yes. Why have we not had that sort of like big time blow off match yet with those two?
Yeah, well, I have a feeling they're going to really let them go.
Please.
That's it. So, at least to their credit, they did. The finish to all of these segments was a little different. You know, you had Gargano just win clean and basically say, Finn, I'm coming for you. You had Dakota Kai get chased off by Tegan Nox. You had Santana Garrett came out and just got murderized by Bianca Belair. Just, 2 flips and a KOD and you're done. Just killed her. By the way, what is up with Santana Garrett's ring gear? What with the floofy little white thing? What is
Rainbow Bright or whatever they're doing?
I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what they're doing with her. This was enhancement talent 101 stuff.
Maybe,
here, and I believe she's better than that.
She's absolutely better than this. Yeah. I just think there's too much going on in the women's division right now for anyone else to step up and have any kind of shine right now. So you want to be on TV? You got to go get murdered.
She's losing to Xia Li on house shows. So I don't know. Right. I don't know what they're doing with Santana. But then Rhea Ripley came out to get in Bianca's face, and Bianca ended up putting her down with a KOD, stands tall to go to TakeOver. So that was a little bit of a different thing. You also had a awesome few segments scattered throughout the show of the Broserweights trying to get to Portland. Well, we can't take our 5-foot-tall trophy from the Dusty Classic on a regular plane. So how are we going to get to Portland? Well, let's get a car. And so they get a car. You've got Matt Riddle driving until he gets, I'm tired, Pete. Why don't you drive? And Pete Dunne drives, and all of a sudden they realize he's driving on the wrong side of the road because he's British. And then they get pulled over by the cops, and they realize neither of them have a license, so their car gets towed. And next we see them on a paddle boat, a big swan paddle boat in a lake. Apparently that's where Matt Riddle goes to think, bro. And he comes up with a great idea, and they sneak onto a private jet in the boot of a private jet. Of course, when Matt Riddle says boot, Pete Dunne says, Don't ever say that word again.
Just stop saying that.
In fact, just stop. Yeah, just don't ever try to do a British accent. Just don't say anything British. Just actually stop talking.
Yeah.
Hey, whose plane is this anyway? And Matt Riddle goes, "Don't worry, bro. I know a guy." We see Triple H coming out to the plane, and they both hide in the trunk of the plane with their giant trophy. And that's how they get to Portland. So I said a couple of weeks ago that I loved the kind of like straight man, wacky man comedy pairing of these two. Is that evolving in a way? Because I remember you were still kind of grumbling about it because you're like, two singles guys, this is bullshit. Are you coming around on them? Like, was this fun for you?
In a Fashion Police sort of way, yeah. I mean,
okay.
The comedy segments like this. I mean, look at what you can do when you just let two guys take a couple of cameras out and film themselves. Like, these were probably shot with iPhones. You know, I doubt they had full-on camera crew. I mean, maybe they did in the cars or getting into the plane and stuff. But I mean, you know, I can't imagine. This might have just been a fun idea that they came up with about how they're going to get that themselves in the trophy to Portland. I'm still going to be bent out of shape that, much like last year with Ricochet and Aleister Black, who are tried and true singles superstars, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne are tried and true singles superstars. The fact that they won again this year a tag team tournament will never stop bothering me. But
God,
in a very Breezango and Tyler Breeze Fashion Police kind of way, absolutely. This is hilarious. Look what happens when you let people come up with their own stuff and don't hand them some bullshit script. You get magic. This was fantastic. And just interspliced all throughout the show in 3 or 4 segments. Mwah! Fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. Loved it.
Funny stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I loved seeing how they played off each other. So, for now, it's fun. I don't know if it's damaging either of them in the long term. I don't think it is. I think at some point, you know, if Pete Dunne ever turns on Matt Riddle here, it will create that much more vitriol because like, how could you ruin something so beautiful? Or maybe they actually don't do the WWE thing and they never actually, fight each other. And it's just something that we look back and be like, man, that was funny when those two were together.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff. Good comedy stuff. And then finally we had Adam Cole, who last week, of course, dumped Kushida in a trash can. Kushida was not a fan of that. So this week we have Adam Cole versus Kushida on the way to Adam Cole facing Ciampa. And Adam Cole beats Kushida clean, which I almost flipped the table on. I'm not going to lie. I can't stand seeing Kushida lose in this way, where I don't feel like he really got over in this match or looked like he was. It looked like Adam Cole. It never really felt like Kushida was a real threat to Adam Cole. Let me put it that way, at least from what I was watching.
Not yet. It could be down the road. Here's what I'll say. Kushida has one of those legacies coming over from New Japan that we bow down to, like 10-time Intercontinental Junior Heavyweight Champion, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, 9 or 10 times, something like that, something crazy like that, and to come over and 1 week he's in a trash can and the next week he's, I don't want to say jobbing, but losing to Adam Cole.
It's certainly not jobbing. Like he had a fairly competitive match, but. Of course it is. Kushida's he can work with anybody, but at the same time, like it didn't feel like he was that big of an obstacle for Adam Cole to get through. Do you know what I mean?
Here's where I get hung up. They spent so much time and so much effort investing in getting people on board with his debut.
Yeah.
To 6 months later, now we're 6-8 months later. Now we're just kind of all right. This is one of those pairings, Adam Cole and Kushida. If you gave them a 30-45 minute match, it would be a match of the year. It would be.
It could be. Yeah.
It would be one of those matches that would just be absurd. And I don't know if all these promos he's been doing in recent months about he's coming back, he's all about love and family and all of that kind of stuff. Is Kushida bringing some of his shine and just putting it on to other superstars now? Is he there to put people over, to rocket strap other people? Or is he there legitimately to win titles? That's what I don't understand. Why is Kushida in NXT?
Right. And, if he's there to put over bigger guys, this didn't feel like that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it didn't
feel like... Because Adam Cole
like,
didn't need it.
Well, and also because they haven't done a good enough job of making Kushida feel like a big deal.
Right. Because you threw him in a trash can the week before.
And then he's been kind of pushed to the mid card, like he lost the first round of the Dusty Classic, in a tag team that supposedly was world class.
The return of Alex Shelley and all this stuff.
Right? And every time, they seem to be building up hype for Kushida and then undercutting it.
Yeah.
And so then when he has a match against
Adam
Wolf. Cole,
it's people fool me once, fool me twice, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
It's a little crying wolf. Agreed. So that was what kind of bothered me about this. But at the same time, Adam Cole looks strong going into TakeOver, where Ciampa gave an absolutely amazing promo recorded in one of the wasn't a classroom, lecture halls at Full Sail.
He was watching his footage of having to relinquish the championship when he
gave it up. Yeah.
To
Triple H, and then he just talked about second chances and the fact that he doesn't know, he didn't think he'd ever be able to. I'm looking at a guy who doesn't know if he can ever come back and do this again if he never has another chance. And here I am having another chance. And Adam Cole, look into my eyes, you'll see a guy with nothing to lose, and that's the most dangerous kind. Absolutely lights out, fantastic. Like, show your kids this promo kind of thing.
When he looked dead into the camera,
yeah,
I felt like he looked into my soul.
I had chills, and they were multiplying. Yeah, he was looking deep into your soul. Exactly. And it's
Daddy's home. Oh God.
Daddy really is home.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We've dropped the North American Championship. The tag titles are also being threatened. Does Adam Cole drop the championship here? Does 2020 the year of the? Did they climb the mountain to the prophecy in 2019 and 2020? I think I've said in the past is going to be the year of the downfall, where they're going to start dropping all the titles so that they can move on to the main roster and do other things. But are they going to just gradually start falling apart? That's going to be the interesting thing to see for me. I think there's a real shot that Tommaso Ciampa gets strapped here on Sunday, tomorrow.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yep.
We had one little segment before we get out of NXT here. Robert Stone says they're restarting the Robert Stone brand. Okay.
Didn't you just start 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, you just started, dude. And apparently Chelsea Green will be facing off against Caden Carter again in next week. What is the plan here? What do you think they're going for? Like, let's look at this. Let's say Chelsea Green loses to Caden Carter again. Undercuts the whole angle of Robert Stone brand and Chelsea Green. Like, what? Then we have no idea what they're going for unless they're making Chelsea Green just like a glorified. Like we're making fun of the fact that she always loses, and that's just part of her gimmick. Like that they're just hapless, which is a very short-term gimmick.
Yeah.
If she wins, okay, she's beaten someone she's already lost to. Now what? She's got to win. She's got to pile up a few more wins before we believe in her again. Why have her lose to Caden in the first place if you're going to start this whole angle? I'm very confused about what they're doing here.
Yeah, I don't know. I have really no comment. I mean, I think I made the comparison to Famous B and Sunny Kiss at one point from Lucha Underground. This doesn't even feel that legit or good. You know, at least that was kind of a comedy spoof of a corner auto sales guy.
Where's Malcolm Bivens? That's all I gotta say. Time will tell with this angle. Time will tell.
Yep.
But right now I am somewhat confused.
Yes.
I'm confused. Nick.
Are confused.
I are very confused. One thing I'm not confused about is the fact that we need to give our picks for NXT TakeOver Portland.
Well, it will start tomorrow night with a 30-minute pre-show at 6:30 Eastern, airtime at 7 Eastern. We will be doing the watch party in the Facebook group for 30 minutes, and then we will jump over to the Discord live chat channel for TakeOver Portland. Make sure you are signed up for both of those things. We're kicking things off, I think, with Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. What do you think is going to go down here?
Who's going to be on the pre-show? It's got to be Nox and Kai, right? Unless we've got
everything else is a title except for Balor Gargano, and they're not putting that on the pre-show.
They all put that's probably going to open the show, I would imagine. Kai Nox, I'm going to go with Nox picks up the win here.
Which one?
Nox. I'm going to say Tegan's picking up the win here. And then we move on. Unless they've got some bigger plans for this down the road, that just seems to make every bit of sense to me. If they've got more they want to do with this, if they feel like they can extend this, maybe make it into a cage match down the road, they'll have Kai pick up the sneaky win. But I'm going to go with Knox here. Just if it's on the pre-show, they're going to have a babyface win. So
I've seen a lot more Dakota Kai on TV than Tegan Knox. I feel like they're still grooming Tegan back from her knees. I think Dakota Kai gets the win here. I feel a little something happening with Candice LeRae. There's a feud there. I'm going to bank on that for the time being and go Dakota Kai.
Well, all right. Fair enough. Undisputed Era versus the Broserweights for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Oh, man, this is going to be an insane match.
I don't even really care about the belts. I just want to see the four of these guys absolutely brutalize each other.
Seriously. Does the prophecy begin to fall apart, Nick?
Can I just get a Kyle O'Reilly and Matt Riddle singles match? Just let those guys go for 30 minutes and MMA the shit out of each other.
Oh, my God.
Shoot fight between Kyle O'Reilly and Matt Riddle, please.
The segments in this when it's going to be Matt and Kyle in the ring is going to be my happy moment of the night. I swear to God.
That's our thwomp moment of the show today.
Thump. The nipples are erect.
I'm going to go Undisputed Era retains here because they already got the trophy.
Interesting. I will then because this is a coin flip to me.
Same.
This is a coin flip. It's really tough to call. Do they have Undisputed Era hold till WrestleMania? Or do they start this now and they have a whole new set of guys to face Broserweights at WrestleMania? But I don't know who they have at WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? Like what are they doing for TakeOver Tampa for the tag division? Like
Ricochet and Aleister Black winning last year made a mess of this whole thing, and I think that was a lesson learned, and I don't think they're going to do that again. That's another part of this that I'm thinking about. Yeah,
it's crazy. I'll play it safe and say Undisputed Era here, just because it's a coin flip to me. I could see the Broserweights winning.
Me too.
And I'm gonna regret this next week if they do win. I'll be like, damn it, I knew it. I didn't have enough faith, but I'm gonna be safe.
All right.
Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. Who do you have winning this one?
I'm getting a little bit into tinfoil hat territory that I'll talk about later, but I think Finn Balor picks up the win here.
Absolutely picks it up.
You have to legitimize the dude, and more so, I need Johnny Gargano to be a little down in the dumps for later.
Sure, absolutely, and also because Gargano did just have like a really big win over Cameron Grimes, so he's coming into this looking hot. So I think they've established Gargano can win. We know Gargano's good. He can also eat a pin, and he'll be just fine. As you said, Nick, it's part of his character. It's great.
Oh, Anonymous, whoever you are, tipped $18 in the tip jar.
Dude, thank you.
Whoever that got a jump, but DC Defenders are up 18-0 end of third quarter. Have a great weekend, guys.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Thank you very much for the tip.
Thank you.
Whoever you are. Oh, that was Abraham, apparently. You showed up as anonymous, Abraham. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
appreciate
much, Mr. Castillo. Thank you,
as
sir.
always. Thank you,
very,
sir.
very much.
Very generous.
All right, let's see.
What were we talking about?
I was distracted by wonderful things. Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic. Gesundheit. Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijak.
It's Dijak.
For the North American Championship, slobber knocker. I actually saw Sasha Banks get interviewed about TakeOver, give her picks, and she said she's picking Keith Lee because she couldn't pronounce the other guy's name.
Right. It should just be Dijak. It's always been Dijak.
Seriously, like I don't know.
It's not like PWG has some trademark on it or anything. Call him Dijak, for God's sakes.
Dijak.
You want to shorten people's names and drop shit all the time? This is the one guy that would make effing sense.
Maybe that was the idea, though. Like, they made it really long because they knew, like, if they called him Dijak, Vince would be like,
he's the main roster.
Die. We're just going to call him Die.
They're saving it for the main roster. When he gets called up, it'll just, Dijak. We'll be like, oh, my God, yes!
Wait a minute, pal. Why don't you just call him Dijak? That's a great idea,
yeah,
Vince.
Good idea, boss.
Idea. Oh, it's a brilliant idea, Vince. Let's do that, Vince. I know, pal. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. So... Keith Lee versus Dominic.
Keith Lee retains in a baller match between these two absolute legends.
There's gonna be madness. It's gonna be madness. Yeah. They're really gonna let them go here. Like I know, they have had a lot of great matches so far. They have been saving stuff for when they get to do it on a pay-per-view. They've been saving stuff y'all ain't seen yet. It's gonna be insane. Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. Is this one in any doubt for you now?
No, Rhea Ripley.
Okay. There is a small kernel in the back of my head that says,
stop it.
Could they make this a triple threat at WrestleMania? Could Bianca win here and throw us all into turmoil?
No.
There is that small little piece of doubt, but it's a small piece of doubt, and I'm still going to pick Rhea Ripley for the win here.
The Charlotte thing was a bit of a hot shot that girl interrupted this whole Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley thing. And it's unfortunate because if it was anybody else other than Charlotte Flair, it probably would have ended up the way you just described. But it ain't happening. We all need to get over it. We're going to get Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania for the NXT Women's Championship, and it's going to be amazing. Sorry, Bianca. Better luck next time. We know you're amazing. Let's move on, right? I like the fact that we're giving this a chance. I like the fact that she got to showcase the fact that I like the storyline that she's been forgotten. They've been focusing on that the last couple of weeks, and I like that story that they're telling. But let's all be realistic. Bianca Belair versus Charlotte or Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte at WrestleMania, I'll take the latter 10 out of 10 times.
I don't know. Bianca versus Charlotte's pretty badass too. I'm just saying.
And this isn't a knock on Bianca. I loved what happened to her
problem
at the Royal Rumble.
No, Nick, it's perception. Bianca is someone who has gone for the title a few times and lost it. So she is now, we're perceiving her as being slightly lower tier. Rhea came in dominant, stayed dominant, beat Shayna in a dominant way. She's a dominant champ. So now our perception of her is that she is at a higher tier than Bianca Belair. If they wanted to build Bianca up and they had her win here, they could then build her up back to Rhea's level, and then it's all three women on the same level, and that would be a baller match as well.
Sure.
So that's the little kernel of doubt that I have is, if they wanted to build Bianca up for that match, you could have her and Rhea doing most of the heavy lifting of the feuding all the way to WrestleMania. Charlotte could go stay on Raw, cut some video promos, come down to NXT every so often, and be involved in this. Charlotte's already established. You could absolutely make this a triple threat that everyone would get behind if you wanted to.
That's the key thing. If they wanted to, I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to.
Well, we'll know this Sunday because if Bianca Belair wins this, they're absolutely they're first of all, they're strapping her. And this is going to become a triple threat. So I could even see her like losing Sunday and then starting to go after Charlotte on Raw as a way to get herself back in the back door of this match. But I think the best way would be to have her win on Sunday. But I don't think that's going to happen either. I think it's going to be Rhea versus Charlotte.
No way in hell Bianca Belair's beating Rhea Ripley tomorrow. Sorry, not happening.
Okay, all right. No, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying there's no chance. I am not saying that.
No chance in hell. I'm saying it.
There's absolutely a chance, Vince. Finally, Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. All right, I know you've been.
You go first because I want to. Yeah, I want to go crazy a little bit.
I'm saying Cole retains and Tommaso gets another chance in some sort of stipulation match at NXT Tampa where he does win it. What are you saying about this? So I'm saying Cole. I'm picking Cole.
When Tommaso went out with his neck injury, we were on the precipice of getting Cole Gargano at WrestleMania. Right?
Yes.
Here's what I'm thinking. Gargano is going to take a brutal loss to Finn Balor. He's going to be a little down in the dumps. And Tommaso Ciampa is going to beat Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. Gargano is going to come congratulate him. Tommaso Ciampa is going to turn on him again and beat the absolute shit out of him. And we're going to slip right back into that program where we were going into WrestleMania, and we're going to get what we all wanted.
You don't think Gargano's going to turn on Ciampa? They're going to invert it?
That's possible. That's totally possible.
Someone going to turn on somebody.
We're going to get to Gargano Ciampa at
Gargano's
WrestleMania
going to catch the
for the NXT
Championship from Finn,
at WrestleMania this year.
Because Finn got infected by the Fiend, so now he's going to pass it on to Johnny Gargano.
Oh, God. Now you're talking. Get it. You're living in Nick's head now.
I've been infected by Nick booking. I caught the Nick booking bug. Oh, kill me. Oh, God.
I think I'm going to call Tommaso Ciampa to win the NXT Championship.
You're saying Ciampa. Yeah. All right.
To set up Gargano Ciampa at WrestleMania.
Convoluted way to get there, but you're going to say Ciampa.
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. Well, there we have our picks for NXT TakeOver, which is Sunday, not tonight. Keep in mind, everyone who's used to watching takeovers on Saturday night, it is not tonight. It is tomorrow. It's Sunday night which threw me for a loop. I thought it was Saturday. But yes, so stay tuned for NXT TakeOver tomorrow. And for now, Nick, we got to move on. There's one more show we got to talk about, and that is Friday Night Smackdown.
Are you ready?
No, stop that.
Are you ready for a good time?
Son of a bitch.
I wish they would give me a good time because it's been a few weeks.
I found it ironic and telling that the show started and only half went off. Like it was just the left side of the stage that went off. Because this felt like half.
It's kind of a metaphor for SmackDown over the last month or so, right?
Oh God, they were killing me this week. Killing me. Let's start off with one with an angle on the show that I know you're going to be frothing at the mouth about, Nick. Miz and Morrison are announced to face Roman Reigns and a partner of his choosing in the main event of the show. This kind of got built up during the show, but it's pretty much it just happened. It just happened. There's no reason why the number one contenders for the tag team belts should be facing off against Roman Reigns and Rando, but apparently they just did it. And not only did they face off against Roman Reigns and Rando, but Rando turned out to be Daniel Bryan. And then we had the match, Miz and Morrison, Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. Great. Yes, it was an entertaining match because these guys can work. But then Roman Reigns spears the crap out of Miz. First of all, he misses him by like 4 feet with a Superman punch. Then he spears him 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan beat the number one contenders for the tag team championships. Does this mean they're now the number one contenders? Because otherwise, why the hell do this, Nick?
I feel
why?
I feel nauseous.
Oh my God!
Like this made me ill last night. Like I was busy setting up. I've got a lot of like to-dos before I go into surgery and become disabled for 6+ weeks. So I was busy like setting up some studio stuff last night, and I watched later from DVR. And it took me about 4 hours to watch 2 hours worth of programming because I would rather watch other YouTube videos like, I don't know, killing anthills or removing a yellow jacket nest or some crazy crap like that than watch this stuff. So I finally got to the main event at about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh, okay, well, Miz and Morrison and Roman Reigns and somebody, this could be interesting.
Daniel Bryan, okay, that's cool. It's gonna be a fun match.
And then, my first thought was, oh wow, okay, so they're really gonna rocket strap Miz and Morrison. They're gonna have beat the two top guys basically on SmackDown, Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan.
Sure.
Nope.
Yeah, and you could have had them win in a Weasley fashion. It wouldn't have hurt anybody. Like Corbin apparently was banned from competing, but he bought a ticket. I'm throwing the quotes up here. He bought a ticket, so he was in the crowd with his cape and his hat and his crown and his scepter. And he's in the crowd watching the match. We keep cutting to him. You could have had Corbin interfere at the end and cost him the match. No. Roman wins clean, and then Corbin comes in, beats him up, and goes to the top of the stage. And for some reason, even though he's not supposed to be there, he's going to be fined if he's there. His throne is up on the top of the stage. What? Oh, God. This goes beyond hashtag WWE logic in a sarcastic way. This is just straight on stupid.
This was stupid.
It was just straight on stupid. And I don't really have any way to excuse
someone backstage has a hard-on for one Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. But that's all this is.
That's fine. You can have that, but just this was something where I felt like no one really thought about the ramifications of this booking.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely
there's easy fixes to this all over the place. And that's what's frustrating. It's one thing to bitch about the WWE product. It's another thing to see something where the fix to it is just glaringly obvious right there. And I don't understand why they didn't do that.
If you're trying to build event. Like this wasn't like some middle of the show sort of thing where it should have been. This was your main event.
Right. Why?
I have so much to bitch about in this show, and you guys know that I'm normally not that bitchy, but this is going downhill. I want to come back a second.
Okay.
About 3 seconds before the show started, we found out that Hulk Hogan was going to be in attendance, or he was going to be on SmackDown.
an appearance
I
from
hope
Hulk Hogan.
after the Goldberg shit 2 weeks ago, nobody bought a ticket because they thought they were going to see Hulk Hogan come. I hope we've learned that lesson by now.
I don't think they advertised him to the ticket buyers.
I don't think they advertised him anywhere. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Oh, man.
Great. Fantastic. So we're starting at the end here, but I have so much more to talk about.
Well, no, okay, let's talk about Hogan. Let's talk about why Hogan was here, because, I really don't have anything else to say about the number one tag team contenders losing to a thrown-together team before having to go for the tag titles. That all just makes no sense and blah, terrible.
Not to mention you had your number one contenders for the tag team championships lose.
That's what I'm saying. They lost clean as a whistle. Clean as a whistle. Just terrible.
Awful.
The Fiend was there. Well, not the Fiend, but the Hulk Hogan was there to talk about how strong Goldberg is. Put over Goldberg. I felt Goldberg. I walked in with the title and I walked out and I didn't have the title anymore when I faced Goldberg. And I felt the energy of the Fiend backstage from underneath the door. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. But then he was interrupted by Bray Wyatt, who came out the Firefly Funhouse, who he remixed the Firefly Funhouse intro to be an NWO intro. He came out playing the guitar,
air guitar, Hogan style. Loved
doing
it.
all the Hogan poses. He ripped off his sweater, Hogan style. By the way, that's all that stuff was. I thought it was the second best stuff on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Was Bray's intro to this, and then he got serious and said, hey, Hogan, basically shut your mouth. Yeah, Goldberg, but I have a Fiend. And he talked smack to Hogan until Hogan got up and left, basically. And that was the segment. He threatened Hogan. He said, I got the little picture of you with the eyes crossed out and put this up on my wall. And Hogan's like, you know what? I'm out of here, brother. So I wanted to like this more than I did. It didn't gel. It felt awkward. Does Bray just not work with classic wrestlers as well? Like, does Hogan just not get what he's doing, or what? Where was the disconnect here?
I wouldn't say that he doesn't work with classic wrestlers well. When he first debuted, the Fiend was coming out to kill legends. That was the whole thing. All he
did was kill legends. Yeah. This is actually like a promo. Like, this is like them working with him in a promo sense, in a story sense.
Yeah.
Beyond just him coming out and mandible clawing them, which anyone can do that.
Sure. So my hang up is that yet again they did it to us again, and credit to Will in the chat for saying it, air quotes, would appear live.
Oh, did they actually say would appear live?
Yes.
Well, he was live via satellite
on the show.
Oh. Yeah.
Or in person. I think that's an important distinction to make, because people are going to spend hundreds of dollars to be there to potentially see arguably the legend of professional wrestling, especially WWE. Regardless of the troubled history and all of that kind of stuff, people are going to show up to see Hulk Hogan in person. And if I feel bad for those that bought tickets, not to mention the fact that this whole thing was to tout NWO going into the Hall of Fame. And he had 27 different of the same NWO shirts hanging behind him, and he was wearing the same shirt, and he had a bandana on. And it was all just NWO, brother.
Did you know I'm getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, brother?
Again, brother.
Yeah. LA Convention Center, brother.
That's where I got hung up with this.
Okay, so I had a weird moment where Hulk Hogan's talking to a supernatural guy, and I flashed back to the Dungeon of Doom.
Oh, God.
I've never been here before. It's not hot. There are no Hulkamaniacs here.
Listen.
I wanted him to bust out one of those.
I thought
Bray Wyatt.
I thought Bray was brilliant. He says, "You've got Goldberg, I've got a Fiend." And that part I went, yes.
Bray pulled his weight in this. Hogan just felt out of place.
Yep.
He felt as
he
out of
normally
place. But he felt as out of place as he did in the Dungeon of Doom.
Yes.
I've followed your trail of tears to get here. The path only a warrior could follow. Oh my God. If you don't know that stuff, look it up on YouTube. It's unbelievable. So, all right. We also had a moment of bliss.
This is what we opened the show with.
opened the show with a moment of bliss, and Carmella was the guest star, and it was about as exciting as getting hit in the face with a wet sweat sock. I was trying to think what was wrong. What if I had like notes to give to these three performers, to Alexa and Nikki and Carmella on this segment? What would my notes like? What could they have done to make this better? And they just had no damn energy. You know what I mean? It wasn't just that they didn't believe their words, which they were kind of just saying things and not connecting, but they also, the energy, they were in front of 15,000 people. It's actually modern WWE audience. They were in front of 8,000 people. And they were just sitting there going, so you don't like Bayley and Bayley doesn't like you, but you used to be best friends. Here, we have pictures. There's pictures. Look how friendly you are. What happened? Well, somewhere along the line, I realized Bayley and I weren't friends. Oh my God, kill me! Get some energy. This could have been a great segment. The whole point of this was to get Carmella over and get the audience behind her before having her title match with Bayley. Because Bayley came out, got in Carmella's face, and Carmella said, let's have our match right now. And they did. They went down and had a match. Okay, so you're trying to have a segment where the audience gets behind Carmella. This was not it. Nope. This did not hit. She got the audience more behind her in the 5 seconds she was facing off with Bayley than she did in this trying to set up the story before this. It didn't work. I saw what they were going for. Didn't work. Whose fault is that? Was it all three of their fault? Was it the writers? Was it like what? Where did this go wrong?
I think having Nikki try to say Brad Pitt where people could understand it was probably where it went wrong. Because even the commentary went, "Who's Brad Pitt?"
What is he a golfer? Brad Putt?
Brad Pitt.
Brad Putt. You couldn't have picked. Chris Hemsworth.
Where they went wrong, starting it off talking about who's your celebrity crush.
I thought that part they could have done something with. It just fell flat at the end.
Had Brad Pitt walked out, payoff. Okay, you got my attention.
Well, they could have done a lot with that, where Nikki just starts like listing off names of people, and Alexa's like, no. It could have been funny. They could have done something funny with it. It was not funny.
Otis Dozovich. No.
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, there you
what?
go.
No. I mean, yeah, but no. Anyway.
He's dreamy.
Braun Strowman. I know how Team Little Big got together. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't work. It didn't get Carmella over for the match. The match was decent, actually. I'll call a spade a spade. Bayley and
really
Mella did
good. I'm going to give it credit where it's due.
Yeah,
this was the best match Bayley's had as champion, maybe even since the heel turn.
It's also some of the best heel work she's done. She felt like a good heel champ here. Bayley felt really good in this whole segment. Like, she came out like just sneering and laughing and cocky and confident, and she won the match by countering out of the code of silence into a roll-up pin when she put her legs on the ropes, and won in a cheap way, and then was laughing, cackling about it, and then proceeded to beat down Carmella after the match. Naomi comes out for the save, and Naomi and Mella are now facing off. So now we've had the setup where Naomi believes she should be champ. Mella just lost her title shot, but it was in a cheap fashion, so she's still in the picture. And you've got all three women now involved with each other. Frankly, that is what they should have done with their women's division a while ago. Okay, now we have more than one woman involved. We're starting to get a story. Like, I think Carmella, her involvement will get better the more she's involved with it, and people remember who she is and what, why she's there. It's going to help her. Naomi still comes across as like the big baby face here, and people are most excited about her. And frankly, she's looked great since she came back. So I feel like we're on the train tracks towards her winning the title at WrestleMania. But if that's the case, they're on the right tracks.
Yeah.
To do so.
Listen, I want to give credit to Carmella as well. I think this is one of the better matches I've ever seen her have on the main roster. Something about these two clicked. We've yet to see Bayley have a really strong match with anybody while she was this heel champ. And this was like the first time where I went, oh, okay. Yeah, more of that, please.
And Sasha's out there.
We got a mention of Sasha also. So is Sasha going to come into the mix somehow?
Does Sasha and Mela go have a feud, and then that leaves Naomi to go after? There's lots of stuff they could do now. They've got more women that the audience is engaging with.
Yes, turning things in the right direction, guys.
Yes,
right.
Agreed.
This felt
All
really
around.
good to open the show. Like the Moment of Bliss thing was hot garbage, but going into a match hot like that and performing for a good 15. They had a great little 10-15 minute match. You know, I was convinced several times that Carmella might actually pull this off. It looked great.
If that's the case, that's a sign they did their job.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely feeling a little bit more confident with the SmackDown Women's Division, which is a lovely thing to say after weeks and weeks and weeks of us being like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
We had Sami Zayn and Cesaro out in the ring, kind of imitating / mocking Elias's gimmick. Sami had a ukulele. Cesaro had a cowbell. And this was essentially a comedy segment. You had Elias come out to interrupt them and be like, hey, guys, that's my gimmick. Let me show you how it's done. Gets the crowd all hyped up on his side. Gets in the ring and lets Sami and Cesaro have their quote-unquote protest concert, which, as you would imagine, hilarity followed. Sami trying to tune up his voice and playing the ukulele, and Cesaro doing his best Will Ferrell impression with the cowbell until he realized the audience liked it too much and threw it away and said, no cowbell. And the audience, oh, boo, bastard.
Cesaro, I'm going to need a little less cowbell. just turn the knife.
Audience
I love it.
No, we want cowbell. So this was all actually very funny stuff. And eventually they got into a scrum with Elias, beat him down. He did his best, but no, he couldn't handle it. But then Braun Strowman comes out to a huge ovation and beats down the heels and saves Elias and stands tall in the ring. And murderizes a bunch of the security guards that Sami and Cesaro for some reason had around. Including tossing one of them over the ropes that looked gnarly.
He's still up in the air somewhere. He hasn't come down yet.
That was floating his way to the next show.
That was like Seth Rollins or like Montez Ford doing a frog splash. Like they're up.
Oh yeah,
he was up in the air.
He got some hate, some serious hate. So, all right, comedy segment. As a comedy segment, I think you'd agree this worked. It was fun. Yeah. It was funny. It got the audience majorly engaged. Like they were invested in this. They were laughing. They were having a good time. Everyone played their parts correctly here. And it ultimately ended with Braun Strowman looking like a monster. Elias got over as a face. I think it accomplished everything.
Yep.
Except it made Sami and Cesaro look like even more of a joke than they already are. At least Nakamura wasn't out there being, I don't want to say delegitimized, but made into like kind of comedy thing with them. So at least there's that. But what's the end game here? Like, why have Sami and Cesaro be in a comedy milieu? That's right.
At the end of the day, I agree with you.
They were in Canada. I'm using French. What do you want from me?
I feel like this had a little bit more. Like I wanted to see I want to see Elias continue to get over as a face. It's working. Like I'm for the most part enjoying this.
I saw it this week. I was bitching about it last week. This week I got it a little bit more. Like to me, it felt more organic. I got it this week.
Sure, and I think if they give him some opportunity to come out and win some matches, it's what you said. Heath Slater's 6 months away from a title shot with the right booking.
That's true. Right? We've seen it happen.
Yes.
Literally, he was nothing. He teamed up with Rhino as the tag champ within 3 months. Like, it's doable.
So if Elias can continue to evoke this kind of response, even if it includes the help of Sami Zayn and Cesaro, they're good sports about all that kind of stuff. We've seen it with Lashley. We've seen it with Kevin Owens. We've seen it all across. Sami Zayn is a trooper when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm now, had Shinsuke come out with what's that Japanese, the shamisen? What's the Japanese instrument? The
shamisen,
shamisen, yeah. If he had come out with something like that and played it, I think that would have been okay and fun.
What was that Super Bowl commercial with Jason Momoa where he takes off his muscles and then he takes off his hair?
Right.
He's playing like the lap guitar.
Yeah.
He can't bench press the pole, like the bar. Right. Oh my God, that was a great commercial. Yeah, like that one of those instruments where you're just like, what is wrong? But he had the ukulele. That was close enough. Blanca, 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 blanc. You know, it was fine. So I wanted to hate this bit, and just all these guys did such good work here that I couldn't hate it. They are making the best out of a bad situation. As you said, they're game, and luckily, like for them, what really helped is they had a live crowd.
Yeah,
they had a very live crowd,
and they were into it, and good for them.
And the crowd,
listen, spoiler alert: these kinds of segments are for the live crowd. They're not for you at home watching.
Absolutely.
And it's for crowd interaction and all of that kind of stuff. So regardless of whether or not you liked it or not, if you were watching it on TV, understand that it wasn't for you. This is the same thing as when that doesn't make sense. Well, when they do TV timeouts at NBA games and the people around the arena throw T-shirts into the crowd and they do stuff like. That's what this kind of stuff is.
But it's also but here's the thing. That crowd was dying for some live entertainment because I was reading reports of people who were there, and apparently half the show was on the damn monitors. You had Bray and Hogan on the monitors. You had a whole bunch of the interviews that were on the monitor. The Otis segment we're about to talk about was on the monitors. And so when they got something in the ring and it was actually engaging, they were like, oh, it's Canada. They love wrestling. Oh, thank God. Something to be excited about.
Yeah.
So I would actually say this was supposed to be for the home audience as well, but definitely the live crowd was eating this up because they were just so grateful to have something happen in that ring. And something that wasn't Sheamus in a handicap match versus Chad Gable and Apollo Crews, which was just embarrassing.
What in the absolute hell is going on?
What in the world? Sheamus brogue kick and pins Apollo Crews, beats both Gable and Crews. What is the, okay, we said earlier, what's the end game? What's the end game here? Obviously, we're trying to get Sheamus over, show that he's dominant, that he's back in here. How is this? I mean, obviously, they've given up on Apollo Crews, but how is this helping? I feel like they haven't given up on Chad Gable yet, because he didn't eat the pin here.
Yeah.
So what is their end game with him? What are they trying to do with him? Like,
this was the whole reason why I picked Gable to go over Sheamus at Royal Rumble a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was because it would have given this some level of stakes and some level of like Sheamus can't lose again, or the little guy gets one over on him. Had they had Gable go over Sheamus, even though I think it was on the pre-show, right? If I'm remembering right, I think so. Anyway, the whole point being, if Gable had gotten over Sheamus in that one, it would have stoked Sheamus up further, and he could have come back and won the 50-50, right?
Have him roll him up. You put a wrestling move on him, whatever. Like, and Sheamus is like, let's have a real match, and I'll kick your ass. And then maybe he does. But the problem here is that now Gable has been, okay. So we're underlining the fact that he's short. We're underlining the fact that he's a littler guy. He's plucky. He's an underdog, but he can't win matches. People don't like to get behind a guy who can't win matches when you believe that he's losing them because he's just not good enough. It's nothing to do with your pluckiness. Like, you can have some guy lose matches and feel like, oh, he almost had him and he's trying really hard. That's not what's happening here with Chad Gable. We're not becoming more empathetic towards him with these losses.
Yeah.
If ultimately he goes, oh, I finally beat Sheamus, we'll be like, yeah, you lost to him like 10 times. Why should we care? And it's undercutting him. And frankly, they've already undercut him enough with the stupid Shorty G gimmick, which people are already, it's just cringing about. It's hard enough for people to get behind him. Like, it's almost like, oh, poor little one-legged puppy over here. This was just painful.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's getting Sheamus over that much because we can't really take his competition.
Nobody
wants
take
his competition seriously. Oh, congratulations. You're beating Shorty G and Apollo Crews. Good job, buddy.
Great.
Way to go. So, Nick, we've got to get to the segment that I know had to have been the angriest you were all week.
This is definitely not my moment of positivity for the week.
Otis Dozovich had a Valentine's Day date with Mandy Rose at the fanciest restaurant in town, Shea Backstage. And Mandy Rose, we see her sitting down at the table. She's in a lovely red dress. Everything's perfect. Otis is preparing himself with Tucker backstage. He's slicked his hair over. He's got his jacket on, his red shirt and his jacket with the sleeves ripped off.
He's got a waistcoat with one button done.
Of course, because that's all he could possibly get done with it. Yeah, and that one button was holding on for dear life. Let's be clear.
And he still had sneakers on.
It was like Sylvester Stallone at the beginning of Cliffhanger, like holding on, like, no, don't let go.
Yeah,
don't let go. He has sneakers and jeans on too. And he finally gets to the restaurant, and I've got to say, man, like I know you've loved Otis for a long time.
Yeah.
But this was just a gem moment of him pausing at the front desk, asking the clerk, is like, looking for a peach. Have you seen a peach come in? And the clerk's, yeah, she's right inside, dude. And so Otis he slicks. He's like, I'm gonna go, and oh no, I gotta slick my hair. I'm gonna go, and oh no, all these pauses and turning back, like I'm not ready yet. Beautifully done on his part. And then he gets his confidence up, and he walks into the restaurant. He's gonna have dinner with the woman of his dreams. He's got the roses in his hand. He looks over, and goddamn Dolph Ziggler has snuck in and is sitting at the table with Mandy. And Otis Dozovich, you can watch his little heart break into a million pieces on his face, and his whole face just droops and gets sad, and he lets the roses go, and they fall to the ground, and he just doesn't say a word, and he turns and he walks out of the restaurant, and the camera focuses in on the roses on the ground. Nick, I need to know what emotions were going through. What did you do when this all happened?
My actual response?
Yes.
God damn it! That was it.
That was it?
I knew you guys were going to...
Why you got to screw with my boy Otis?
Dolph Ziggler?
You weren't mad at Dolph Ziggler?
Listen. Yeah. Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah.
You and me got business. we need to step outside.
That rat bastard!
Son of a bitch!
Oh, Dolph, you dirty dog. Dolph has more heat now than anybody else in WWE. I've been looking online, like people are like, son of a, oh, you bastard, how dare you do that to Otis? This is great. This is fantastic. I think this is the best twist they could have on this. It now sets up a feud with Otis and Ziggler. There's so much more to do with this. People are fully getting behind Otis on this. It's awesome. It's awesome. I don't know how much it's doing for Mandy, but
it's better than going out and losing to Bliss and Cross.
Bam! Took the words out of my mouth. So, yeah. So Dolph
we talk about views on YouTube with Lana and Lashley and all that stuff as a reason. I'd love to see what the views on YouTube were for segments involving Otis and Mandy. I would hope that they would be as big or bigger, but
I don't know.
I would be disappointed if not. And I don't think we're done with this. I do think this will run all the way to Mania as a segment, and it's going to turn into something where Dolph is going to screw Heavy Machinery out of a tag team title opportunity. We're going to see this. As mad as I was about this segment in particular, that they just didn't see it through and deliver, I am overwhelmed and excited about the potential of elevating Heavy Machinery and Otis in this way. This is the kind of rub that those guys absolutely needed.
And this is going to work, I think, wonderfully for Otis. Just to break your heart, Nick, the Valentine's Day segment from last night is only have about 500,000 views right now, but a lot of their previous segments have 2+ million. So it's not 5 million like Lashley and Lana, but people are watching it. People are watching them. So. But yeah, that was, I think, the highlight of SmackDown was the execution of that segment. I think they just absolutely nailed it. Otis nailed it. Dolph just sliding up on Mandy from behind and like putting his hand on her shoulder. Like, oh, hi, Otis. Oh, Dolph, what are you doing here? And just everything was just so like you could the way it just fell into place was fantastic. So I didn't even mind the fact that it was obviously a set, not a restaurant. Didn't even care.
They are playing out every nerd ever's worst nightmare.
Of course. Oh, I mean, there's nothing new about this. This is cliche. This is 101. But at the same time, they're nailing it.
They are. They're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Kudos.
So,
but Dolph Ziggler.
Watch out, buddy.
Coming.
Watch out. Nick's coming for you.
You're going to be up there with Nia soon. I'm coming!
And that was SmackDown. That was Friday Night SmackDown. Oof. Mostly a rough show.
Yeah. There's some glimpses of things where they might be turning the ship, especially with the women's division. The tag team division still is a mess. We have no idea what's going. Why is Goldberg the one fighting the Fiend?
It's a rough build for Super Show.
Oh God. All right, so we have to go over now that we're done with the graps, and we have to talk about our moment of positivity.
After all that Smackdown, I need this today, Nick. I need the mop. Give me the mop. Give me
Ian,
a mop.
What made you happy this week? What was your moment of positivity for post-Raw?
You know what? Actually, my moment of positivity is actually something that I want to talk about in the news segment. So you will know when I get to that. So I'm not going to say it now.
All right.
I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save my moment of positivity because we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
If I had a number 2, Jeff Cobb to AEW. Cobb walking out.
I was going to say, I'm going to play a little snippet of mine real quick.
This is Jeff Cobb here.
There you go. This is Jeff Cobb, right? Absolutely,
Jeff Cobb.
right? This is Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb showing up on AEW to come into the main event of everything happening in AEW between Jericho and Jon Moxley. Just like that. Big old Jeff Cobb is now in AEW, or at least participating in some aspect in the feud of the entire show. Yeah, I'm over the moon about that. 100%. We love Jeff Cobb. He smells amazing and delicious. You can't not love Jeff Cobb. Even as a kind of Hawaiian psychopath with he's pulling a Drew Mack and putting his hair in front of his face now. Jeff Cobb, absolutely. Love that guy.
Hell yeah. So Nick, I've got to save my moment of positivity.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not waste any more time and head over to our other news lightning round. Beep, 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 beep.
Yes, sir. Well, starting off, I'm gonna mention the ratings real quick, and then we'll move on to my moment of positivity. AEW 0.3 in the demo is at 10th place, down 12% from last week. So AEW dropping off a little bit. It's too bad. They had a good show this week.
Yeah.
And they had 817,000 people watching. NXT got a 0.24 in the demo, down at 21st, and it's only 757,000. So closing the gap this week, NXT. Which is too bad. NXT I thought was a bit of a bummer show this week, and AEW was a much stronger.
It's funny that they're hovering. I mean, since the debut and that 1.2 million number they hit, they've both been hovering at that 800,000 mark, plus or minus. And I'm wondering if it'll ever exceed. Like, what's going to be the thing that takes them off from that 800,000 number that they're both
think about
in
this.
around?
Raw does around like just under or just over 2 million.
Sure.
SmackDown does about 2.4 million on the average.
Sure.
This is about 1.6 million people watching wrestling on a Wednesday. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Could they squeeze out another, 400, 500,000? Maybe, but it's not bad.
I'd like to see them both over a million each week. I think it's more than deserved, and they don't deserve these kind of placements. I don't know what they're counter-programmed against besides each other on Wednesday nights. That would be interesting to see as well. I'd have to look that up, but
I've got the whole graph, but right. I don't have it up for this week, unfortunately. So I couldn't tell you exactly.
NCIS crap probably.
So my moment of positivity, the moment this week I was the happiest about. Will Ospreay was challenging for Zack Sabre Jr.'s Rev Pro Heavyweight Championship this week at high stakes. Actually, last night, and guess what? Will Ospreay is now your new Rev Pro Heavyweight Champion. In addition, he announced that now he will be wrestling exclusively as a heavyweight. So Will Ospreay finally went heavyweight, and he's a heavyweight champ.
Wow.
I got to tell y'all, like, that's a long road that man has come along. Like, good job, Will. Congratulations. It makes all the sense in the world. He showed, the end of last year that there's nothing left for him in the junior heavyweight division. He's beaten everybody. Literally his last match against Hiromu.
That was his setup for Hiromu coming back.
Is there no one else?
Right.
There's nobody else. And Hiromu came along and beat him, and it was a perfect poetic finish to it.
Yeah.
I love the way they built up for this. They let Zack get a win in Japan, but then Will Ospreay went over to England. He was able to win the championship in England. So congratulations to Will Ospreay. He is your new Rev Pro Heavyweight Champion, and he will be defending that in New Japan as well. So that's fan-freaking-tastic. Also at that show, Oku defeated El Fantasma to win the Cruiserweight Championship, and Giselle Shaw defeated Zoe Lucas to win the Women's Championship. So lots of titles change hands.
Wow.
On high stakes. Good grief. So good show overall. NXT UK this week, and also working the NXT US house circuit tour. Aoife Valkyrie finally made her debut. Maybe we'll be seeing the debut of the Woke Queens. I don't know. But if you don't know Aoife Valkyrie, check it out. She's got her entrance already like completely down, her whole persona. Like it's all ready to go. I think she's actually going to make a big splash in NXT UK and possibly even in NXT US. So we will see what the future has in store for her. She's very talented. I posted this in Facebook yesterday when I found out tragedy has struck the backstage interviewing team at NXT. Kathy Kelly, Queen Kathy, announced she'll be moving on from WWE after 4 years working there. On to bigger and better things, she says, but I fingers crossed for her. She was absolutely wonderful. One of the few rare backstage interviewers that had real personality, seemed to connect to the people she was interviewing, seemed like a real person. So best of luck to Kathy Kelly.
Yeah.
She will be very, very, very missed.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not happy about it.
No.
So we don't talk about Stardom a lot here, but one of their major stars, the leader of Oedo Tai, Kagetsu, is retiring. She actually had her farewell match, her retirement match at Stardom back on January 26th. She's on her farewell tour. Her final match will be on February 24th. This is actually really too bad. She was a really talented wrestler. She's been doing it for about 10, 12 years now. She was actually the locker room leader at Stardom until Bushiroad took over, and they didn't like her kind of Bill Watts' style of running the backstage, where she, like, if people showed up late, she'd fine them. She'd take away their personal time. Like she ran with a pretty iron fist. But, some places you need that kind of discipline. But due to politics and also apparently due to just injuries piling up, she decided that it was no longer, she no longer wanted to be a wrestler. She was no longer going to do it. So she is retiring. So if you've never seen Kagetsu, she is fantastic. Go check her out, because you're not going to be able to get after February 24th. You'll have no more opportunities. Nick, I know I've said that I wanted Aleister Black to face Undertaker at WrestleMania this year. I thought that would be an awesome thing for both guys. But according to WrestleZone and Dave Meltzer, their plans are going in a different direction. It's looking like it's going to be Taker versus AJ Styles. What do you think about that?
I don't know what to think about that. I heard that as well. And my initial thought was, okay. Well, not what I would pick, but it's AJ Styles. All right. Yeah, trying to rationalize it in my head. Just that thing we do. Just, Then I started thinking about, like, why? Is it just so that he can check that box and say, I wrestled Undertaker at WrestleMania? If so,
I mean, yeah.
Sure. I mean, fine. Could I think of better opponents? Sure. But it's AJ Styles. It's going to be a fantastic match. I can't be mad at it, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm excited about it.
Is it going to be a fantastic match?
I don't know.
Old slow Taker and just coming off of injury AJ Styles?
I don't know. Me and AJ will be getting done about the same time, I think.
I think it, yeah, right. I think it's only really exciting in terms of like a historical perspective where you go, AJ's finally getting
to check, sure, but
it's a box to check.
That's like the most exciting part about it.
AJ's never had a feud with Undertaker. Like, they're going to be able to put together video packages that will get us excited about that. But on paper, I'm just kind of like, all right. Fine, exactly. Yeah. So I hope to be made more excited about this by their booking going forward. Japanese legend Kenta Kobashi is about to undergo knee surgery after finding out that he could not get down on the floor to play with his 4-year-old daughter. He's been putting it off. And then his 4-year-old daughter asked him to come down and play with her, and he couldn't. And she said, "Daddy, are you injured?" And he went, "Okay, yeah, I'm getting that knee surgery." So I don't freaking blame him. I had the chance to meet him in Vegas when we were out there for Double or Nothing, and the dude just exudes superstar. He's an absolute legend. So I hope this goes well for him. Best wishes to Kenta Kobashi. Hope it all goes well and you're able to play with your kids. Speaking of injuries, Tino Sabatelli, former of Sabatelli and Moss, is back. He's been out for 2 years, Nick. 2 years Tino's been out with an injury.
What was the nature of his injury?
Like a pec injury, wasn't it? I actually forget. It's been so long.
Yeah, I think it was that torn pec
I tried
thing
to look
that
it up.
Triple H had.
Trips was back real quick, though. Hold on. I'm going to find out. I actually really need to know what this was because 2 years is insanity.
Also, I believe still real life significant other to Mandy Rose as well, Tino. So I'm curious to see if he is going to be coming back. He returned this Friday to Tampa. Could he be? We have seen Riddick Moss on the main roster alongside Mojo Rawley. Could we see Tino somehow come in as well and involve himself in this whole thing with Otis and Dolph Ziggler? I think it would be terrible. I think it would be stupid.
It was a torn pec.
Torn pec, yeah. That's what I thought. I remembered that. Yeah, who knows? We loved Tino and Riddick Moss in NXT. I thought they were really charismatic. They really just drew
from
in
what
that
I understand,
heel heat from the crowd.
From what I understand, he's going right back to where he left, where he's just a bitter, angry, smarmy heel.
Yeah.
So I mean, he just looks like that when he comes out. So I just hope he picks up where he left off and is able to get a singles career going. So feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll come up and take Dolph Ziggler's place in the Otis and Mandy feud and, really bring it full circle because he is Mandy's real life boyfriend. But anyway.
I hate to break in on you again, but JB just threw $3 in the tip jar, bringing us to $100. Oh, my
JB,
God, you guys.
Come on. Oh, my God.
Woo!
You guys are out of your mind, and I love you all.
Wow. Thank you so much, everyone. Much appreciated. Will, $69. Good Lord, man. Love you.
Oh, we better make this worth it for them. Let's see. Hall of Fame rumors. You got to hear some actually, I got to say, JD Drake, also ex-WWN champ. JD Drake also showing up in the house circuit down there in Tampa. Hall of Fame rumors. You guys want to hear some rumors?
Oh, boy.
Rumors. They're rumors only. As of right now, strongly rumored for the Hall of Fame, the Bella Twins, which I can actually make an argument for.
Me too.
I can make an argument for the Bella Twins being in there. They did hold everything down for a while, and they are a major financial component of the WWE in the last 15 years. So I actually could see an argument for that. The other one I thought was fascinating, Jushin Thunder Liger.
I didn't get this one
is being
much.
Rumored. No, why not?
I just don't associate him with WWE. I really don't.
Keep in mind, they also put people in the Hall of Fame that were major fixtures in WCW, but never really had anything happen in WWE, right? What did Diamond Dallas Page do in WWE? He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but he's been in and around I feel like he's been a part of pro wrestling, whether that's through him rehabilitating legends through DDP Yoga, whether that's...
Don't let your Western perspective fool you. Jushin Thunder Liger is wrestling. Like, he invented the shooting star press. This guy is actually way more so than Diamond Dallas Page.
Okay, defensive.
Stand
down.
You don't come for my Jushin, man. Don't you come for Liger.
Stand down, Captain.
Oh,
listen,
man.
Hang on.
Woo, I almost came through this camera at you, boys.
No disrespect to Jushin Thunder Liger, and I agree with you to an extent on Diamond Dallas Page, but I see him having a positive effect on some of the other WWE superstars over time in the rehabilitation and things like that. So I can justify him. I'm not really sure that I associate Jushin Thunder Liger with WWF. I know of his
doesn't matter.
WCW.
It's a wrestling Hall of Fame. That's at least how they promote it. Like, it's just people who
we know
are
better than that. Come on.
We do, but at the same time, Liger has had a true WWE match. He had a match with Tyler Breeze on NXT. He had a bunch of matches in WCW, and they still count that now as WWE because they own WCW. And he is the definition of a living legend.
I agree.
I think it would be a fantastic thing for WWE to honor him in that way.
I agree with you 100% on Jushin Thunder Liger. He absolutely should be going in. It's a nice hat tip to his retirement and his legacy and his career, all of that. I 100. Let's talk about the Bellas. We agree on Liger.
I thought it was the other way around. You agreed on the Bellas, and then you were like, I don't know about Liger. He's not really as big of a deal as, like, say, Diamond Dallas Page. Wait, what? Well,
I did not say the words that he's not as big of a deal as Diamond Dallas Page. I said I could make an argument. Fine.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Argue about the Bellas. Go on.
The Bellas were sort of the last bastion of the Divas era.
Yes.
They have done
nothing.
They
were the transitional.
They have done, Nikki was the transitional champ, if I remember right. She with that long reign that she had.
Lost it to Charlotte, and Charlotte made it into the Women's Championship.
Right. So, also all of the enterprising that they've done alongside WWE outside of the ring. The Total Bellas show is, for all intents and purposes, a hit. They keep renewing it. They've got another show called Total Bellas. It's a spinoff that's coming back for a whole new season. They need to promote that. All of those things are taken into account here. So, it makes sense to me. And at least now, hopefully, for serials, we know that they're not going to be back in the ring again. Like, there was a tease last year that they were going to come back for one more run up to WrestleMania after Royal Rumble. Thankfully, they didn't.
And they're also both pregnant right now, so they're definitely not getting back in the ring.
There is that.
Anytime soon.
I also think it's funny that Daniel Bryan had to shave his beard and hair.
Why is that funny?
I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Let's move on. I don't want to say that on air. Let me rewind that.
I'm so confused and worried. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Fight TV. Fight TV just sent a whole bunch of cease and desists to people like Mr. Lariato on Twitter. If you know Mr. Lariato, he is the greatest purveyor of wrestling gifts on the internet. And they canceled his Twitter account. He had his whole Twitter account canceled by Twitter because Fight TV went after him. And they went after a lot of people that were posting gifts. He actually has been in contact now. Lariato's been in contact with Fight TV, got them to take the strikes off of his gifts. Now he's got to fight with Twitter to get his account back. So apparently it's starting to work out, but there was a huge backlash against Fight TV for this, including a lot of major figures who stepped up and were like, hey, wrestling gifts are free advertising. What are you doing? It's not like they're giving away whole videos. They're giving away little snippets that get people excited. Most of the time, they don't get seen, but every once in a while, one goes viral. And when it does, it brings a ton of eyes to your product and gets people to buy your stuff. Why are you taking these things down? So Fight TV right now is being hated on by a lot of people. It sounds like it's
rightfully so.
Yeah, it sounds like they're turning around and seeing the light. But wait and see. They're still right now the most hated company in wrestling internet.
What are you doing?
Yeah, wow,
you
seriously.
Idiots. Remind me never to do a Fight TV affiliate code or sponsorship or ad on this program.
Well, like I said, let's wait and see. They seem to be doing the right thing. They didn't do the right thing at first.
Talk about missing the boat.
As of this morning, they seem to be doing more of the right thing. So wait and see.
You got one of the most
I'll do a follow-up
followed wrestling fans and members of Twitter, and you're going to go after them? Moving on.
I know. No, exactly, Nick. Exactly. So let's see. Thunder Rosa, current women's champion over on NWA, was in a hit-and-run accident. Someone nailed her car. She is fine, slightly banged up, but okay. But unfortunately, she's having to sell her wrestling gear for repair money for her car. Oh, man. So look her up. Look up her social media if you want to get your hands on some Thunder Rosa merch and gear. She got to pay for that car. She's got to pay for that car. It's tough being an indie wrestler. Speaking of indie, Ring of Honor. I don't know if you can call Ring of Honor indie, but I guess they're kind of indie. Ring of Honor is replacing their women's title. As we know, they had some issues with Kelly Klein at the end of last year. She is no longer the champion. That championship, in fact, no longer exists because they are going to replace it, which is ironic considering that championship didn't even last 2 years. They only started that championship in 2018 when Sumi Sakai was their first champ. Sumi Sakai is also in the running. She's going to be in the tournament to determine the new women's champion, which is taking place, April 24th. She's the only confirmed entrant so far. We'll see who else wants to step up into those slots. So No word on what's happening with Kelly Klein, although we can just assume she's no longer going to be working with Ring of Honor. Speaking of Ring of Honor, current signee Flamita was in a match. He was teaming up with Bandito against the Briscoes, and he tore a meniscus. So he is injured. No word on how long he's going to be out for, but Flamita is injured as of right now. This next one is convoluted and tough to hear and to talk about, but I don't know if I mentioned it, but Blake DiBiase, Brett DiBiase, Ted DiBiase's son, is in some serious hot water. Brett DiBiase he's just been arrested for, let me get the exact what they're calling it. He's indicted on charges of embezzling more than $4 million in federal welfare funds for his, let's see. No. Yeah, so he was hired by the Department of Human Services for $79,000. He was then given a raise to $95,000, and he was gone 6 weeks later. And indictments alleged that the other people that were indicted, Davis and Smith, faked invoices to channel $48,000 so DiBiase could attend drug treatment in Malibu, California, as well as embezzled nearly $4 million other dollars. Here's the problem. Not only that, Ted DiBiase Sr., $1 million man himself, also is having some problems with his Heart of David Ministries, where they are apparently out. They spent $2.1 million, and they can't account for it. So as of right now, Brett DiBiase has been indicted. His father's under investigation. Things are not looking good for the DiBiase family right now. So, yeah, I'm going to be keeping an eye on.
I would prefer not to comment on an ongoing investigation.
Exactly. I just want to say that it's happening right now. Brett DiBiase has been indicted on embezzlement. Ted DiBiase, they're looking at him. He hasn't been arrested yet, but he's got some money going missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what's supposed to be a nonprofit. So, and he's getting government assistance on it. So, yikes. Also in trouble, Teddy Hart. I know. Shocker. Wait a minute. We're talking about Teddy Hart and he's in trouble? Yeah. He's also in trouble for drug-related offenses. Oh, what a shock. I know. MLW parted ways with him at the end of last year. He's just been arrested in Virginia for possession and intention to distribute Schedule III narcotics. That could be cocaine. That could be anabolic steroids. Could be any number of things. We don't know exactly what they are, but he has been actually arrested, apparently facing up to 10 years in jail.
What even is a Schedule III narcotic?
Schedule III that includes like cocaine, anabolic steroids.
Cocaine is a Schedule I narcotic. What is a Schedule III?
Oh, sorry, codeine. Codeine.
Okay.
Codeine.
Sure. So so he's been handing out Tylenol.
Or
come on.
Steroids. Steroids more
Steroids,
likely.
anabolic steroids is sure. All right.
Yeah. It carries up to the intention to distribute part is the part that's going to get him in trouble.
Right.
Having it's not a big deal.
Right.
Intention to distribute, that's up to 10 years. So Teddy's in trouble again.
Great.
Can understand now why MLW wanted nothing to do with him. That's the island of lost toys right there already. So if you flub out of that, you're done.
Holla, holla, holla.
Holla. If you watched where did he come into this? If you watched Smackdown, you may have seen this graphic pop up, but if you didn't, you may not know. But Sheamus is the honorary pace driver for the Daytona 500 this year.
Biggity.
What? That's insane. I know nothing about the Daytona 500. So you all gonna have to pick this up for me, Nick. I don't know.
We gonna
what that
go
means,
fast and turn left sometimes. Woo!
All right. Well, Sheamus is gonna be your Daytona 500 pace man. So
awesome.
Good for him.
Yay.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know.
It's really cool. If you've never driven a race car at 100 miles an hour around a oval track with...
Is he going to be like... He's going to be the passenger, I'm assuming. He's not actually driving the
No, they
car.
let him drive. But they only do... I think it's like 70 miles an hour around the track. Yeah, they let him drive.
Huh.
But they're not driving at 150 plus. They're doing like 70 miles an hour. It's the pace car. It's like they bring the field out onto the racetrack. And
I just want to see Sheamus get out of the car and his hair's all sticking backwards instead of straight up.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, we mentioned this earlier. Matt Hardy he's going to be back on Raw. We thought this last week was his write-off because they gave him a concerto, But apparently concertos aren't what they once were, and Matt he's taken them before, right? He's immune to them now. He's taken so many from Edge.
Yes.
Right? Yes. That's probably why he'll be fine. He's going to wrestle a match with Randy Orton this Monday, because apparently the segment last week, which he hasn't signed another contract, but it went so well last week that they were like, we got to do this. We got to do some more with this. So he's going to have a match with Randy Orton.
All to set up Edge coming back out and beating down Randy Orton.
Do you know what kind of match it's going to be, Nick?
No. A concerto match?
No holds barred. No holds barred, Hogan. You won't know.
You don't even know.
You won't know where he's going to be. That's right. No holds barred. Matt Hardy and Randy Orton this Monday on Raw. And Nick, that is the news.
Well, thank you very much, Sir Ian Dangerous. And thank you guys for hanging out with us on this episode of Busted Wide Open. We've had a blast. Again, thank you to everybody in the chat for throwing $100 in the tip jar. Shout out to Will James, Abraham, JB, Patrick Kennedy, all of you.
Oh, my God.
Thank you guys very much for all your contributions.
Animals.
Oh, you guys were awesome today. But stay tuned. We're not going anywhere. We're going to fire a new stream right up after this to do our patron mailbag episode number 19. We've been doing this for 19 weeks now. Holy smokes. Oh, man, but they're always so good. So many questions we have to go over today. I think there's like 16 questions in there. It's going to be a big show today, guys. You're going to want to hang around because we're going to have some fun over in the patron mailbag. But if you don't tune in there, we're going to be live on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. If for some reason you only listen to us on audio, you're missing out on all the fun over on YouTube as we do these live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the videos that you check out, and jingle that little notification bell so that you get alerted every time we go live or put up some new content. You can also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. Find us on Facebook in the Busted Wide Open discussion group and like our page over there. As well as you can go to bwopodcast.com and find links to all of this stuff and more, and your podcast link of choice, whatever app you choose to listen to us on. Finally, thank you to all of our patrons for all of your contributions. Every single month we do this episode for you that we're getting ready to do just for you guys. Thank you for all of your contributions. We did make it up to the number of 45 patrons. We are merely 5 patrons away from me having to do a dubstep remix, Nia Jax's ringtone of her coughing that has been going for like a year now. That is creeping back up on me. My foot's going to get inserted into my mouth again, unfortunately, because I think we're going to hit it. So I am going to have to honor that and live up to it, even though it's over a year old at this point. Yeah. If we hit 50 patrons, I got to
remind myself how to make dubstep and then find a sample. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun little project.
Sample a lot of Skrillex. You know, that's really what it comes down to. Transformer music, right? Anyway,
what was that? Yes, everyone, please keep in mind this coming Tuesday. Unfortunately, we will not be live just this Tuesday. Nick's got to go get his broken wing fixed, or his busted wing fixed. Busted wide open wing.
Clipper!
Wing clipper. You got to go get that fixed. And so we will not be live, but we will have a show coming out sometime next week with myself and the return of the lovely JB to the podcast. That will be coming out to recap TakeOver and Raw. So keep an eye out for that on your podcast app of choice. We will be back, hopefully, unless you have a really rough time of it, Nick. We will be back next Sunday live at 12
Saturday, you mean?
What it says? Saturday.
Saturday. Takeover's on Sunday, and we're on Saturdays.
What am I? Who am I? Saturday at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. We will be live again next week, barring some unforeseen circumstances. But go to the Facebook discussion group. We will be announcing all that stuff over there.
Yes. Well, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with a new stream for the patron mailbag. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Somebody stop the damn match!
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.